The northern capital trembled with fear. Dragons flew over their blackened towers, their wings blotting out the sun and their shrieks marking the sky. Below them, soldiers kicked down doors, combed the alleys, and interrogated the shivering villagers. House by house, street by street, they pursued her. Darinka ran through the bowels of the city, through hidden passages, shadowy corridors and sewers where the filth clung to her like a memory. She couldn't fly, the skies belonged to Justin's dragon horde. She couldn't fight, not here, not where Momo's presence silenced the whispers of her power. Justin had become a man driven by a single purpose, to see her destroyed. His dragons had already razed 3 of her cities in the south. Entire cities were reduced to ash. He wanted revenge. No, he wanted to end everything and everyone. And so she ran. But even here, where the goddess Momo reigned and her influence waned, Darinka was not alone. She had touched them, hundreds of them. Hands brushed in crowded markets, a nod to a weary mother, a whispered prayer to a child. She had walked as a pilgrim, a refugee, a ghost, and each of those moments left seeds. When she needed to disappear, doors opened. When she needed refuge, strangers welcomed her. When the soldiers arrived, many paid with their lives. She felt each death, each one pierced her like broken glass, but she kept moving. She was on the rooftop of an old spice house, cornered by soldiers and dragons alike, that her power shifted. The city below throbbed with terror. Above, dragons circled, fire burning in their throats. Darinka stood on the cracked tiles, her body aching and her heart pounding. She fell to her knees. Rin's voice had remained silent for a long time, but now something else called to her. Not from the ground. The awakening came from the sky. She felt a cold fire rising within her, a wind that was not of this world, something vast and wild. It flowed upward, not downward. Its magic reached not only through earth and stone, but also into the air, the clouds, and the sky. And suddenly the dragons fell silent. A wave of their power burst outward, upward, reaching the nearest of them, brushing the wind beneath their wings. And in that moment she spoke to them, not with words but with truth. She showed them a memory, the white dragon, broken and bound, groaning under Justin's will. She showed them what she had seen, the pain, the control, the lie. He claimed to be their savior, she whispered, but he enslaved their king. And the sky changed. It began with a single roar, then a dozen more. Then the sky crumbled. The dragons rebelled, one by one, breaking formation and descending, not upon Darinka, but upon Justin, upon the castles of the nobles who had ruled with him, upon the high towers of the capital, where Momo's clergy watched in disbelief. Justin struggled. He shouted. He invoked Momo's blessing, but Momo didn't respond. The sky itself burned with rebellion. Within hours, the power of the north collapsed into ash and blood. Dragons laid waste to their masters. And when the fire subsided and only ashes remained, Darinka descended into the heart of the ruin. In the broken shell of the great temple of Momo, beneath a shattered dome of glass and prayer, Darinka found her. Momo, the many-faced goddess, stood beneath a fractured sky. Her figure flickered, young, old, beautiful, terrible.
You have won the game.
I didn't want war.
No, but you brought her anyway.
There must be a balance. Your grace may stay, but only in the north. My lands will no longer suffer your poison.
What if I refuse?
Then I will erase you from the memory of men.
Spoken like one of us.
And with that, Momo disappeared. The deal was sealed. Justin didn't die. Darinka found him in the ruins of his once glorious palace, crawling through the rubble, his face covered in blood and his eyes filled with hatred and pain.
Kill me, finish me off, grant me peace.
She looked at the man who had orchestrated the downfall of her family, who had poisoned her brother, who had enslaved the gods.
No, there will be no death. Only your infamous memory will remain.
And so she sent him south, into exile, to the broken house at the end of the world, the same house where she had once wept beside her dying mother, the same house where Arik had once laughed. There he would live, forgotten, unloved but alive. Then the world saw the flags change. The Thousand Kingdoms, once fractured, once ravenous and warring, aligned, territory by territory, city by city. No sword was raised, no army marched, only silence and the soft rumble of dragons' wings high in the sky. The Red Queen had become something else, something beyond human. And in the golden dawn that followed the last war, Darinka stood on the blackened stones of the old palace and her shadow spread across the world. People called her by many names, the Empress of Flame, the Law of Heaven, she who broke the North. But she didn't care about titles. She had no family left to speak to her, only an empty crown and a fulfilled promise. So that the world never forgets what it has become and what it must never be again. Thus began the reign of the first Empress of the Thousand Kingdoms. Here ends the story of Darinka, the first Empress of 1,000 kingdoms, who led her empire to times of abundance and peace. But she lived in solitude all her life. The Amaverse still has many stories to tell. Please stay tuned for our next installment.
She rose from ashes, cold and grey. Her heart once scattered, lost her way. From broken vows and endless tears, she forged a path to quell her fears. Injustice marred her every stride. With every breath she turned the tide. The chains that bound her fell apart. A warrior's strength within